everybody, I hope you're well. Hey, look what I found in the garage here. This was a promotional thing that they put out for that Oliver Reed. Oliver Reed? I can't remember who was in it. But it was a movie. Oliver Stone, I'm sorry. Talk radio, words can kill. And it's a clever thing because when you plug it in and you're listening to the talk radio, the lips move. Gary's here, Pete's here. I think that's a wonderfully clever promotion. I think I've got the only one left in the world. I hope you had a great Easter. We had a message from the leaders of the major Christian churches around the world, the Pope, the archbishops, the politicians, the charities, show business, even the zoo. Where was King Charles? Head of the Church of England? A Christian country? Perhaps it is because he is also the head of a largely Muslim country. I don't know. I know he went to church, but where was your kingly message, sir? I missed it. Just saying. Open the effing straight, you crazy bastards, or come Tuesday, today, you'll be living in hell. Just watch. The leader of the free world, Donald J. Trump. Not very presidential, sir, but I guess Iran knows where it stands. I reckon they'll do nothing. They'll just ignore him like Putin has for years. I find it hard to believe that Congress or the Senate or even the military wouldn't try to remove him. I mean, say what you like, that tweet or posting is quite unhinged. We can't even say the president had had too many drinks, because he doesn't drink. We own the skies, we have annihilated their anti-aircraft systems, we have won the war. Simply isn't true. Hyperbole is one thing, but the president can't just mislead the nation and the free world. Does he check with anyone, his generals, the Pentagon, advisors, or does he just go out there and say what he likes? There has to be a political cost. All of this stuff is hardly helping his credibility or that of America. One scenario, and the least attractive, would be boots on the ground in Iran, with body bags coming back from the other side of the world, young men and women killed in defense of something they don't understand and probably don't even want to know about. No more forever wars. Remember? No more forever wars. As I said last week, going back to the First Crusade, we can't win. These people don't mind dying. We do. Anyway, we'll get to Artemis in a moment. Is the $15 million loo going to hold together? I don't know. Holy crap. Well, toilet or no toilet, it's probably a fairly good time to leave the planet for a while. Oh dear. Now, our sponsors are Rossdale Homes, as I mentioned last week, a fine South Australian family-owned company, famous for their absolute fixed price guarantee. You get no nasty surprises. And whether you're a first home builder or a seasoned property developer, no one likes extra scary costs. Their slogan is, and has been for years, Rossdale Homes, when trust is a must. Remember, with their fixed price contracts, only you can change the price. For peace of mind and great quality, rossdalehomes.com.au. Don Farrell, you would know the name, Minister for Trade Minister, talking about the tariff changes to pharmaceuticals. Labor will always stand up for Australian industry. Well, I'm not sure. Don is as old as I am, I think. Maybe a bit younger, but I'm sure he must remember Labor's Lima Declaration. which certainly didn't stand up for Australian industry back in the Whitlam years. Sorry to mention it, Don. Look it up. Check it out. It required a recount, but the electorate of Narungga on the York Peninsula has resulted in a victory and a fourth lower house seat for One Nation. Won by only a handful of votes, but so what? A win is a win. Cory Bernardi says, with more of the primary vote than the Liberal Party, One Nation should be the opposition. Oh well, we can debate that on Friday maybe. He also promises that there will be no One Nation defections and scandals and nonsense going on with the candidates who have been elected to the South Australian Parliament, the upper house and the lower house. Well, we'll see about that. I hope to God he's right, but they just don't have a very good record in that department. Cory Bernardi will make a strong leader. I believe he'll make a significant contribution to politics and political life in South Australia. He has already. He's promising a campaign against the Aboriginal voice to Parliament and an end to net zero. And speaking of the Aboriginal voice to Parliament, perhaps you too have been wondering just how many Aboriginals bothered to vote. I know they selected a lot of candidates, members, and announced their salary would be $200,000 a year, plus. But no mention until now of how many people, how many Aboriginal people bothered to turn up to vote. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the South Australian Indigenous Voice delegates or parliamentary members have been elected with as few as 15 primary votes. 15 primary votes. How in God's name can this government present this concept as being valid? People are calling for the repeal of this Indigenous voice. That's not surprising when you look at the result. Who could be surprised when 2 delegates were elected with just 15 primary votes? Six female delegates were elected without needing any votes whatsoever. How? How do you get elected with nobody voting for you? Unbelievable. They were appointed to satisfy gender balance requirements. But this was an election, not an appointment. Huh? So if you're a female, you don't need to get one single vote to be elected. This is truly bizarre. Now, this Premier of ours is pretty bulletproof. Quite frankly, should be ashamed of himself. This should not be allowed. It's bizarre. The Malinowskis government is apparently defending the voice, saying that because of the sparse Aboriginal populations in various communities, they don't quite get it yet. Well, I'm sorry, this is condescending nonsense. Unbelievably, the Attorney General, Keir Maher, describes this whole thing as a significant voter turnout. Well, I don't know what planet he's on. And where, for God's sake, is the media? Why would you not be all over this, demanding the resignation of the people who put this whole idea forward in the first place? You know, what is it costing us? Knowing full well the people of Australia didn't want it, a national referendum decided that, and now the Aboriginal people have rejected it. This voice thing is totally bizarre and racist. Love to hear your comments on Friday. 0491 65 68 60. What an anticlimax was this stop press rare address to the nation by Albo. We are going to shield the small business of this country from the worst that the world can throw at us. An address from the Prime Minister. These events don't come along every day. They are rare. How useful, I don't know. But politically, perhaps, I'm a statesman. I can't get the speech impediment quite right. But
a lisp would be better.
Yeah. Could somebody tell him, show him, how to use an auto cue? What a waste of a national address. He said nothing and didn't do it well. The funny thing is, he can do a speech well. If ever you've heard him in Parliament in question time, he's a street fighter. Good when he's off the cuff. Have a look at the script. Put it in your own words. You know what you want to say or need to say. Skip the auto cue. Inflections were all wrong. I don't quite understand why he doesn't have better people around him to advise him. God knows he has enough of them, but maybe they just don't like to tell him what he doesn't want to hear. I don't know. Anyway, what a week. We had the prime ministerial prime time address to the nation. The next day we had Artemis heading to the moon, and the Prime Minister at the press club with a lengthy speech, Q&A as well, and then President Trump with his national address. What was this? Some strange alignment of the planets? Perhaps Artemis. Well, I think Artemis was good. I think that was pretty good. The rest, not quite so sure. I don't think we got anything from President Trump apart from more to worry the stock market of the world. $22 billion wiped off immediately. Now listen, this is slightly mischievous, I suppose. But when you can manipulate the stock markets with just a few words, it must be a temptation to have a preemptive word with your broker. Now, how would this go? When I say, good evening, my fellow Americans, sell, 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 sell. And then, 20 minutes later, when you hear me say, and God bless America, buy it all back. Now, I don't believe that for 1 minute anyone would do that. Just saying. Just saying. Has anyone in Australia been sued by the President of the United States?
He's working on it.
Well,
he's got your name.
I said, could you imagine? I wasn't saying. I was just saying. We did get one strange thing from our Prime Minister's press club chat. For quite a while now I've been talking to you about the problem that was pointed out by the Peter Murphy inquiry, Labor Member of Parliament, into online gambling advertising. This is where incalculable pain and damage is inflicted upon Australian families because of the openly legal promotion of gambling on an industrial scale in the popular media. The Murphy inquiry recommended that this be stopped immediately. The Labor government danced around this for years, while being heavily lobbied by the commercial media. We're doing it tough. We need the money. You can't stop. This is rivers of gold. We can't, no. And of course, no sensible politician is going to offend the media. The politician's job, of course, is to look after the community and do the right thing, which is clear in this particular case, as it is in many cases. The right thing, that is. Years after the Peter Murphy inquiry handed down the unequivocal results of their searching look at the whole subject, we now have some watered-down version of some of the things that she recommended. This pernicious problem affecting the entire community will continue with the blessing of this government. Gambling should not be allowed to be promoted openly in any manner whatsoever in the media. That is simple. And that's exactly what should happen. The launch of Artemis, we've got to talk about that, an enormous triumph for NASA and the United States of America. Millions of components brought together, some indeed from Adelaide, under a tender process where the cheapest gets selected. So there you are, 4 brave astronauts sitting on top of this enormous firecracker, knowing that every single component below you and around you in that enormously complicated craft was the cheapest that money could buy. Oh, God. And it all has to work exactly right and at exactly the right time. Now, if those 4 guys, well, 3 guys and 1 girl, weren't scared stiff when they lit the blue taper or whatever they do, I don't know what. As I said, South Australian componentry is involved, and through Southern missions we will be a vital part of the tracking and the communications so necessary for a successful mission. So far it's been faultless, apart from the $15 million loo. Splashdown will be Saturday morning, I think. Yeah, Saturday morning. Porta potties will be on standby. Anyway, congratulations to you all. I mean that sincerely. Happy birthday if you're having a birthday. An amazing thing with those astronauts is that, you know, you look at it and they're on show the whole time with millions of people watching them, and they make like they're having a good time. Well, I'm sure they are. I'm sure they are. Ladies and gentlemen, it's April 7. Wow. Happy birthday, happy wedding anniversary. Oh, the internet is having a birthday. The internet's symbolic birth date, the publication of... Now, you guys are computer literate. What is an RFC?
I don't know.
The internet's symbolic birth date, publication of RFC 1. This day, April 7, 1969. Golly, that's a long time ago. 1827, strike a light. English chemist John Walker sells the world's first friction match. He was selling these matches for 1 and 2pence per 100 in a tin case with a piece of sandpaper. Before that time, 1827, you could strike it on the seat of your pants, bottom of your shoe.
Volkswagen engine.
Volkswagen engine. Do you have Volkswagens back? No, never mind. Forget it. 1795, France adopts the metre as the basic measure of length. 1848, Prague University, the first university in Central Europe, is formed by Charles IV. 1348. And if I was going to that university, I would still be there studying.
Indeed.
Struggling to graduate. Australian athlete Edwin Flack wins gold in the first Olympic 1500 metre final at the inaugural Modern Games in Athens, goes on to win the 800 metres 2 days later. The year was 1896. He was an Australian. His name was Edwin Flack. Golly. Henry Ford, American industrialist and automaker, the Model T. He dies at 83. The year was 1947. We have a fine example of Henry's car-making capacity right there in a 1963 Ford Thunderbird. Bless you, Henry. James Garner, American actor. Rockford Files, Brett Maverick, born in 1928. He died in 2014. He also did a space movie called Space Cowboys, as I remember. Queen Victoria asks Jon Snow to administer chloroform during the delivery of her 8th child. Well, I can understand that.
Oh, really smart.
I need chloroform. Leopold was the name of the child. Leads to much wider acceptance of obstetrical anesthesia. 1853 was the year. They executed Dick Turpin on this day in 1739. Dick Turpin was a highwayman, wasn't he? Yeah, highwayman. How much time have we got? Not a lot. Scholars estimate... No, I won't do that one. World War II. General Montgomery speaks to generals at St Paul's School about his vision for the upcoming D-Day landings on this day in 1944. Will Keith Kellogg as in Kellogg's Cornflakes, cereal brand manufacturer, born in Battle Creek, Michigan. He died in 1951. He was born this day in 1860. David Frost. I'll just do this last one. David Frost was a British television host, journalist and writer known for his incisive interviews and engaging personality. He gained prominence in the United Kingdom during the 60s as the host of the satirical television show That Was the Week That Was. That was about 1962. He gained international fame for his series of interviews with former US President Richard Nixon, which was later adopted and put into, well, it was a play, it was a film, it was a documentary, Frost Nixon. Anyway, David died in 2013, but he was born in 1939. Got to go. Thank you so much for being with us, and our dear sponsors, Rossdale Homes, thank you. We'll be here on Thursday morning at 9 o'clock with another posting on Facebook. Believe in yourself, and thank you for viewing the Court of Public Opinion.